And roll sound. Welcome to the show where every week 4 people go and watch a movie, and then we sit down and talk about that movie. It's a whole thing. That's this show. And normally we like to start out by introducing all of the people who sit around this table. I mean, here in this studio. So we're going to do that right now. First up is Katie Fain. Hello, Katie.
Hello.
Hello. Next up is Abby Kate. Hello, Abby.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
And last but not least is our resident microphone-eating goat, Micah Warber Jaegerman Jensen.
Hello. How do you do?
We taught the goat to speak. It's been quite a journey.
His name is not Batman.
There's an earlier podcast if you want to know what the heck we're talking about. We're not going to rehash it here, though. I have something very special. We launch into the news a lot of the time, and by a lot of the time I mean the last 5 episodes that we've done. A lot, yeah. But this week I want to start. We have our first review on iTunes.
Oh boy.
It's beautiful. So this is from someone named Roach40X.
Okay.
So I'd like to read you the title. It says, underqualified, but underrated and unique. So that's how this starts.
You start every podcast saying we are underqualified for...
Oh my gosh, I didn't even recognize a reference to my own joke.
Yep.
For the record, though, I like to think we're a bit qualified, seeing as how movies is like my entire life.
Your words, bro.
Yeah, you're the one who says it every single episode, so he's just quoting you.
Yeah, whoever says that words can never hurt has never talked to me about myself. Anyway, so here's what he says. He says, real or she, I don't know.
And I know.
Roaches are not exclusively.
It's a he.
Oh, okay. You know who this is?
I do.
I do know.
Well, don't ruin it for me.
Okay.
Real people having real conversations about movies we love and movies we hate. The best part about this show is that you always feel like you are in the room with 4 people talking because the things they have to say are relatable and genuine. And oftentimes when there's nothing to say, the space is filled with noises that you will hardly believe are human. So that's either the goat or Abby. Although Katie's had a few, I think.
Yeah, if they're burps, they're me.
Probably.
Well, except Micah.
Yeah, Micah has
burps.
legend. I have to cut a lot of those out because it just peaks the microphone. They are inhumanly loud. And you can do them on the command. That's the amazing part.
I kind of need to do one now.
Go ahead and just back up from the mic. I'm going to leave this one in. And
it was all right.
Yeah, that was not
Usually
the full
you shake
power.
the building.
Yeah, I've had noise complaints here in the studio, not apartment.
Wink, wink.
Every episode is entertaining, filled with fun facts, interesting opinions, and quirky jokes that you never tire of. Want a relatable review of a movie that you love or hate? Listen to Roll Sound. It will not disappoint. So thank you, Roach40X.
Love you, buddy. You're beautiful. We should hang out.
If you send us a review on iTunes or if you tweet at us or send us an email, we'll try and read them out on the show, particularly if they have just a dash of comedy. You tried so hard to cover that, but you just coughed into your shirt. So that's how we're going to start the show today. So hooray!
Yay.
We're going to go into the news now. And by news, I mean some rumors I picked up off the internet. The Fate of the Furious, which is the 8th movie in the Fast and the Furious franchise, it's been given an official runtime of 160 minutes.
That's necessary.
Yeah, to give you kind of an idea of how long that is, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice had a runtime of 151 minutes. So it's a long movie. It's long. There is some people asking, well, could this affect the box office numbers because longer runtimes equals less showings? But I think no. If people have made this thing go on as long as they have, and now they're going to try and see what they do without Paul Walker, everyone's going to go watch this movie. It's going to be ridiculous. And unfortunately, because we started doing this podcast, I'm going to have to. I did not like those movies.
They're not good, but they're hilarious. In that trailer, they say the word family 4 times.
Yeah, I didn't count, but I realized that it's family. You going to turn your back on family? How many times are we going to be riding that scooter in this movie?
Dude.
So many.
If you've watched any of the other ones, it's their favorite word. It's all about family. Damn it.
Aren't they not related though?
No.
Good.
It's
like
been a
the-
while since I've watched it, but
It's been a long time.
yeah, pretty much. But I not memorable.
Yeah, no. They're all the
That was a
same.
great analysis, especially because there was a wait. Like, how do I describe this non-thing in my brain?
Just watching that trailer made me like, I don't know, cringe a little bit
then-
because all the dialogue is so forced.
It's terrible.
Oh my
and
gosh.
then Vin Diesel or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel
always-
pulled an Optimus Prime.
He always
He just turned evil for no reason.
He always looks like he has to poop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah. Vin
Like-
Diesel's now constipated man in my brain. It's official, and I'm never going back. I'm gonna do that at some point. You guys are gonna forget. I'll be like, so that new movie coming out with the constipated man,
I'm really getting it.
and I'm just gonna look and be like, "Are you insane? What's happening?"
It's fine.
I that whole thing because she says, "Are you gonna turn your back on family?" And then Charlize Theron just like starts macking on him, and that's a truck pun because there's I'm terrible
Okay,
at this.
oh my gosh.
I don't like myself
What?
right now.
Good.
I'm not a Mac. I'm a Peterbilt. Anyway, but she just like turns and just like it's the grossest kiss in movie history, as far as I'm concerned. Because just like blah, blah. and
It was bad.
then he just walks into smoke. Because
Yeah,
why
that's great.
not? It's so dumb. I'm really not looking forward to it, and
I am
I
so
will
looking
rip that
forward.
movie apart,
Oh yeah.
piece by piece,
Oh, yeah.
carburetor by fuel injector, tire by tire.
It's just a huge meme at this point, so I'm
Do I have
stoked.
to force myself to watch all the other ones?
No,
Oh no.
I'm gonna go into this
No,
one
no, no.
blind.
That's like a week.
I'll look up the
Like-
Wikipedia
Yeah, I'm
articles
just-
on them and just kind of figure out what happened.
Because
No.
Not that you
thing.
need it.
I don't remember much.
Yeah, because it's all about family, right?
Yeah.
So it's just as long as I know what the word family means, I'm caught up.
Basically.
Cool.
Every movie, they have to get something, and someone betrays someone, and then at the end, everybody's happy again, and they stole the thing.
And everyone that Dwayne the Rock Johnson is in, he insults the rest of the cast and goes, "You're a bunch of pansies."
Yeah.
Like there's because they did 7 and he said it there, and then they did 8 and he said it again. He's like, "Yeah, they're still a bunch of pansies." All these guys. It's like, well, that's easy to say when you're a human mountain.
He's the rock.
Ugh. Anyway, mountains are made out of rocks. Boom, connected it, made it work. I'll give myself thumbs
Well
up.
done. I'm
Yay.
so glad you figured that
It was
out.
really
Ooh.
hard.
I'm not a mountain expert or anything, but I do know that rocks are in there somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you learn something new every day. Do you guys like how there's always news about the DC Extended Universe?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
It's
because
never
there's
good
more.
news.
Then actually, this might be good news.
What?
It's now. Don't get your hopes up. This will not last.
Okay.
This will go off the rails in 2 to 3 weeks. But for right now, we get a small bright spot. There is a Nightwing movie happening, and it's from the director of the Lego Batman movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Chris McKay loves Batman, everything Batman. He knows all of it. It's ridiculous. And he's going to make a Nightwing movie. And I'm okay with this. It will not... The only part I'm confused about is, like, it's going to be dark and brooding because DC has this whole, like, you know, no jokes thing, which they've pulled back on a little bit.
Yeah.
His name is also Nightwing.
Yeah. But the thing is, Chris McKay, the Lego Batman movie was his first movie directing job.
Huh.
What he did before that was direct 3 seasons of Robot Chicken. So
This is a switch of pace.
yeah.
A little bit.
But that said, there are a lot of, like, if you look at actors, for instance, actors have a easier time going from a comedic background to drama than dramatic actors have from going from drama to comedy. And I think that's partially because the comedic actors, normally a lot of the time, if you look at their personal lives, they have a more tragic life and they understand those things better, and humor is how they deal with it. So I don't know. I think this may be an interesting. I'm sure there'll be some actually genuinely funny parts in there, or it'll just be 3 hours of Easter eggs. But either way, no, I'm kind of excited for this. Do you guys think that Michael Cera, who voiced Nightwing in the Lego Batman movie, should reprise his role for this?
No.
No, because you don't want to look at Michael Cera.
No.
What if he's wearing a mask?
No.
He's still going to be showing the lower half of his face, which is the weak part.
Yeah, he
People say
doesn't-
I look like Michael Cera. Is the lower half of my face the weak part?
I love you.
You have a chin. He doesn't.
Okay. Cool.
That's
I
true.
love you, honey, but
Is my whole face the weak part?
no.
Just like 95% of it then? Oh, she's holding my hand. This is love. She didn't answer the question, though, so I think she's dodging.
Love.
I'm just not excited about Nightwing.
That's
Because
okay.
I hate the word Nightwing.
I'm sorry. Well, Katie, you don't have to be excited about the movie because I'm excited enough for both of us. And because we're married, we are one.
Wow.
So there's one half excitement. I don't know how that math worked, but I did.
That didn't work. It's fine.
If you were 200% excited, then it'd be a 100%. But
Mm.
you
So
dropped the
wait,
ball
does
there.
being married dilute any excitement I ever have?
Well,
No.
since you were one
Suck the
whole, then kind of.
excitement after. I can't. Suck the excitement.
So.
Third time's the charm, honey. You can do it. Come on. You can do it. No, go ahead.
I'm done.
Please, do it. You can make it.
No, I can't.
I believe in you.
I was just trying to suck the excitement out of you.
There we go. We did it, everybody.
I really blew out the mic.
So the Nightwing movie is being added to the slate to kind of give you an idea of what else is happening. Wonder Woman starring Gal Gadot is the next movie, and that's going to be in theaters June 2nd.
Boo.
Justice League is next, and that's in November 17th. So that's two DC Extended Universe movies this year. Aquaman starring Jason Momoa will arrive next year on October 5th.
Maybe woo.
And then there's before 2020. So in the next 3 years, we have Suicide Squad 2, The Batman, Shazam, a Black Adam standalone movie starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, The Flash, and Cyborg.
Interesting.
So that's all expected to hit before 2020 from a studio that can't figure out what to do with any of their characters. So I
Also
expect,
exciting.
yeah. So also planned are Green Lantern Corps and Justice League 2. Those are past 2020 though. So, but I have no faith in this happening like all of those before 2020.
Green Lantern 2? So they're still using Ryan Reynolds?
No, Green Lantern Corps and Justice League 2.
Oh, okay. Good,
I may have
'cause that
misspoke
was-
there, but Green Lantern Corps, they're going to reboot with Hal Jordan was the last Green Lantern. I forget the other Green Lantern's name, but the one from the Justice League TV show.
That's a good one.
Say what?
That was a good one.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. I'd like to see maybe Idris Elba play Green Lantern. I think that would be interesting. Either him or no, I think he would be my pick.
I don't know who that is.
Have you seen Pacific Rim?
No.
No.
How about Beasts of No Nation?
Nope.
No.
Okay, he's
I've heard the name.
he's an English actor who at one point was
Probably.
he's an African American actor. He wanted to be James Bond at one point.
I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, so you guys look him up. I'm going to keep going.
I'm going to do that.
The Batman is happening. Batfleck is going to return as Batman. And Matt Reeves is officially directing. So Matt Reeves is the director of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I'm excited about this.
Sweet.
He's a competent director, and as long as the studio gets their grubby, stupid hands out of the way, and Zack Snyder is slapped in the face anytime he gets on set, like they've just got a facial recognition that just a big pan comes out and goes ding every time he tries to get involved. I think it'll turn out pretty good actually. So, and then there's a possibility of Nightwing, being involved in that somehow.
That'd be cool.
So whoever they get to act as Nightwing would be. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on actors because I always get that wrong. But no. So that's interesting. What's interesting as well, interesting, because that's a word I know, is that last week Matt Reeves walked away from the movie before he was ever signed on, because apparently there was some type of conflict going on when they were in talks to do it, and it was said that talks might resume once cooler heads prevail. So I guess that happened.
Yeah.
What wording?
Which is probably a fancy way of saying, yeah, they offered me a lot more money, so I'm going to come back and deal with all these dingleberries. but hopefully he pulls something great
Yeah.
out of this disaster that is Warner Brothers movies. But yeah, so we'll see. I mean, Christopher Nolan was able to do a lot with his Batman series.
Yes.
Even though it was under Warner Brothers, but the biggest thing about that is that he wasn't having to deal with any extended universe stuff. It was just Batman. It was
Yeah.
his world. And now we have to deal with aliens and Doomsday being a reborn General Zod and that Jesse Eisenberg thing, whatever the heck is going on. I really hate that.
Sorry you hate that.
I just get a haircut, but like on your own accord, he did get a haircut. Point is,
He did.
He's annoying.
I liked
think
him.
he's great.
I liked him a lot.
I liked Bane, and a lot of people didn't, so I guess I see where
Bane
Oh,
is
you like Bane?
ridiculous.
I like Bane.
Why do you like Bane?
Because if another person who has a muffled voice and could sell Girl Scout cookies if he was on the phone can be a villain, maybe I can too. It gives me hope. I'm going to be reckoning. See? I can do it.
Well done.
Thanks. So, have you guys ever played the Uncharted series or know anything about the Uncharted series?
I played the
No.
first 2 or 3.
Okay.
I really liked those. I didn't play the most recent one.
It's basically Indiana Jones, but rogue.
Yeah.
If that makes it's Indiana Jones Rogue One on PlayStation only. But there's been talk of a movie for years about this. But it looks like it's finally in good shape. The most recent draft of the script, which was written by the Grey director Joe Carnahan, is finished. So The Grey is a movie starring Liam Neeson where he fights some wolves or something.
It's okay.
It's actually, yeah, it's pretty okay. I mean, it's tense, and Liam Neeson's voice makes the whole movie, but
Yeah.
but he finished it. He said, "When I wrote Uncharted, I didn't spare the rod. I wrote it the way the video game is. They swear in the game, they're kind of foul-mouthed, and I kept all that stuff intact. And I definitely didn't write it as a PG-13 movie. I wrote it the way that movie should be written." Are you trying not to sneeze?
Yeah.
You're giving yourself a finger mustache. You're cute. So when asked about how he worked around essentially remaking the classic Harrison Ford action-adventure in the process, because it's basically, Indiana Jones, but with more guns. Basically. I used a lot of syllables there. He shed some light on how this movie will be different while also giving us a window into what the Uncharted movies will be like. Here's how he explained it. Listen, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan because apparently he's not an idiot. I mean, you have to be.
Right.
Except for the fourth one. We'll talk about that. Which was one of my interests in it. And you have to remember that you've got Sully as well, so it's more of a buddy situation than just a Drake solo, which are characters' names from the game. You have kind of this... You have this kind of Hope and Cosby Road to Morocco kind of thing. So it's not a straight indie lift. Drake is not a guy who likes museums. He thinks they're all crooked. Curators are thieves. The guys in the Louvre and the Met are thieves and despicable. He's a treasure hunter, not an archaeologist. He doesn't have Indiana Jones' idea of pure faith in archaeology. That's not the way he thinks. It differentiates, and in the script there are deliberate differentiations. I used the right amount of syllables in that word, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's good.
Yay! He has a line where he says they're going to be looking for... they're going to be looking at real booby traps, not rolling boulder bull. So basically, he's like, it's taking it more seriously and less fanciful than Indiana Jones is.
Yes.
So.
I'm kind of worried about this movie because if you've ever played any of the games themselves are already highly cinematic in nature. They're basically movies on their own. So trying to write a movie for it, unless you're sticking straight to the game, I think it's just going to be a little ridiculous and.
Well, the interesting thing
faithful.
that he said about that, I don't have the quote written down here, but he said that they drew inspiration from all the games. They didn't follow the storyline specifically, though. It's a new adventure. But he said that because they're so cinematic, the games themselves, there's no point in just transposing that over to film. We got to do something, different, but in the same vein. So we'll be getting fresh action scenes and stuff like that, but very much in the style of those cinematic cutscenes.
Yeah.
And not even cutscenes. From what I've seen of the games, because I haven't had the chance to play them because I have an Xbox, is that even when you're just playing, it's still very cinematic.
It's beautiful.
So no, I'm kind of excited for this. I think it may be, if they really did just focus on the story, it may be the one that breaks the video game curse. But I also hope that for Assassin's Creed, and look where we are.
I didn't see that. I had no desire to.
Me either. In more exciting news, it's the 40th anniversary of the original Star Wars this year.
Yay!
Yay! There are rumors, mind you, of an unaltered original theatrical version of the originals coming out on Blu-ray. This has never been done, and Disney owns it now, which means they can do whatever they want. You'd think, but you'd be wrong. Thinking is bad. That's what I learned in public school. No, 20th Century Fox still owns the rights. So they'd have to come to an agreement to make this happen. Look, I take pride in my homeschooling, so I don't feel bad about that. Again, these are rumors. There's no guarantee, but we can hope.
Yeah. Basically, if this does happen, that means we have to build a budget around
so that
this.
you can buy.
Katie and I are on a very strict budget right now to make sure we can get ahead, and so with that budget, we would have to take money out of our food fund to go buy Star Wars. Again, we already own the movies, but if we could get them without all the extra little what's that ugly alien that sings during in episode 6 in Jabba's palace, and he gets right up in the camera and goes "Wow!" and his uvula's flopping around in the back. Why did we need that?
We didn't need that.
I think we just needed more weird creatures that looked smelly.
Oh, George
This is a
Lucas, I
good
didn't know
idea.
we'd summoned you.
Well, you were criticizing my masterpiece. I added a lot more creatures, and I think it really made the work more powerful.
And I believe you said in an interview at one point that those special editions are the version you intended for people to see originally, but it wasn't possible at that time.
That's right. We just didn't have the means, and everybody's just a stupid idiot, and I wish they would chill out and just enjoy my smelly creatures.
Well, George Lucas, I think I can speak on behalf of all of us, including Micah, who you've somehow squashed into another dimension, that we're certainly glad that there's no smell-o-vision for you to ruin our houses with your extra creatures.
Well, I tried, but it just wasn't there. Maybe next time. Next time I do a special edition.
Cool. But aren't you not involved in Star Wars at all anymore?
I know some people.
All the people at Lucasfilm?
Those are the ones.
Oh, cool. Wow. Well, Mr. Lucas, thanks for visiting us. Can we have Micah back?
Yeah, okay.
You didn't turn him into a smelly creature, did you?
Well, he was already a little smelly.
I guess that all depends on your opinion.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm going to move on from Star Wars news and just kind of look away from Mr. Lucas for a second. Maybe he'll disappear.
You can look at my pretty face.
Yay! It's George Lucas's face on your body. No. So Logan is going to be Hugh Jackman's last outing as Wolverine. We've talked about this before, but there was some talk about maybe a Deadpool Wolverine crossover happening, and Hugh Jackman has said, no, I'm not doing it.
Good for him.
He would have stayed, though, if the X-Men universe was able to be with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He said this, and I quote, "If that was on the table when I made my decision, it certainly would have made me pause, that's for sure. Because I always loved the idea of him within that dynamic, with the Hulk, obviously, with Iron Man. But there's a lot of smarter people with MBAs who can't figure that out." And so he basically just goes, yeah, these lawyers are idiots, otherwise I'd still be playing Wolverine. You're welcome. Thank the lawyers.
Nice.
So he was also asked, what other characters or story arcs from comics that haven't gotten a chance to get in the movies would you have liked to see or seen come through? That's what it says. I'm just reading. Hugh Jackman says, I don't know, this was the one that I really thought, when I spoke with the guys who created Old Man Logan, a lot of people think, oh, this is Old Man Logan. And I'm like, well, the inspiration for that was Unforgiven. That's what we have in common, but there's no Hulk babies in this one.
Ooh, that sounds bad.
So, in the Old Man Logan storyline, Hulk eats Wolverine, and then Wolverine kind of like C-sections himself out.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, it's
That's
pretty
better.
terrible. Yeah. There may be some other babies as well that I don't know because I haven't been able to read the comics yet, but that's one of the things. He said, at the moment, honestly, if I really did have them there, I probably wouldn't have said this is the last. It just feels like this is the right time to leave the character. So we could have gotten a Hulk Wolverine if these people, the lawyers and the movie studios would go, you know what, maybe we could make more money if we teamed up instead of trying to rip each other to shreds every 5 minutes. And that's my rant.
Okay.
Yay.
Abby, you look so relieved. Okay.
Now I'm just excited to talk about our main topic.
Yes, but before we get to our main topic, there are some trailers that showed before our main topics roll that I wanna go over real quick,
Okay.
and like really quick because I know we have a lot to say about this movie, which I don't know why I always refuse to say the name of it because it's in the title of the podcast, but we're gonna stick
It's
with
fine.
it because it's shh.
I whispered.
Yeah, but whisper less.
Okay.
Great job. All right, so trailers. First off, let's talk about The Mummy. This is basically, I think Dracula Untold is actually the first in this connected world of monsters. The Mummy is the second. So we got Tom Cruise screaming in a plane. We have a lady whose irises and pupils multiply because she's a spider eye lady, I guess. Tom Cruise dies, but then he's not dead. Russell Crowe is in it. Again, I don't know.
What are you doing there?
So yeah, no, I'm kind of excited to see this because I just want to see that plane crash in full. I feel like that will be a lot of fun to watch. That moment where he like pulls it and she goes no, and he pulls the parachute and she flies out. There's no way she didn't get cut in half on the shreds of that airplane. But okay,
It's fine.
I like airplane crashes. Like not in real life.
All right.
Not in real. I have not caused any personally. Just want to get that out of the way. But I like watching them in movies.
Fair enough.
Again, not in real life because those are horrible, horrible things. So The Mummy, I'm kind of excited for that one. I'm apprehensive, but I'm not as angry as I am about the fact that Transformers: The Last Night exists. So Optimus Prime will be terrible and beat people up on the wrong side for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have 4 hours of movie where he talks about honor, protecting humans, how old Peter Cullen is now.
The worst part about Transformers is they make the movies look so cool in the trailer.
That's the thing, is there are people whose job specifically is to make trailers.
Well, yeah, and like the trailer was very well done.
You know what's not well done?
What?
The title at the end where it's like Transformers, but there's no transforming of it. I remember that blew my mind. The first time I watched the Transformers logo in the trailer, I was like, oh my gosh. I even remember I went and watched the Revenge of the Fallen, which is not a great movie, but I was younger at this point. And I remember my dad took me to see it. He was bored. But on the way home I went, Dad, man, forget Star Wars. That was amazing. That was so cool because I just remember watching the transformations and it blowing my little mind. My dad was just like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Because he had no idea how much that meant to me. I've repented. I've blessed me, Star Wars, for I've sinned.
Now that excitement of Transformers is passed on to his little brother.
Yeah.
Oh. Great.
Wesley loves Transformers, but the problem here now is that the last one was so long and nothing happened, and they switched out the like cool mechanical transformations for these new Transformers that just turn into blocks, and it looks terrible and stupid. And there's a Transformer with a gun in his face, but
amazing.
But he has a regular name instead of like Gunface.
I didn't watch the last one. I don't care to.
I didn't either.
No, it's terrible. Don't
and
watch it.
And it's Mark Wahlberg, so.
Also, John Goodman voices the most useless Transformer in that. He says at one point, he's on the ground and he goes, I'm dancing like a ballerina, and shooting in slow motion. I have no idea. If you must watch it, just try and pick out all the stupid things John Goodman says.
Cool.
It's terrible, and I kind of want to watch it to make fun of it again. Dang it, Michael Bay! But yeah, no. So that one's not going to be good. Also, I would like to point out that the song that's in that, it's very on the nose. It says we're floating. Do you realize you're floating in space? And that's when Optimus Prime is floating through space. But also later on it says, do you realize you have the most beautiful face? But when it says the most beautiful face, it switches from a human to the most blank-looking Transformer I've ever seen in one of these movies. And I watched the trailer online before this, but I had no idea what it was saying there. It was just like, you have the most beautiful face. Forgettable Transformer. So, not going to be good. Calling it now.
No.
Cool. Next up was Life. I'm excited for this one. I don't want to talk about it a lot. I think it's going to be marginally okay. But it's Ryan Reynolds and Idris Elba. That's him.
Yeah.
That's him. So now you know who
Did
he
I
is.
miss that one?
I don't remember it.
I don't remember
But
that.
it's like why is there no life on Mars? Because this thing that we found wiped it all out. And then there's a bunch of space crash. I'm excited. It's going to be good. Look up the trailer if you haven't seen it. Saban's Power Rangers. I have only one thing I want to say about this. Maybe. When I first saw the suits, I saw that it's not like their whole face is covered. It's like their mouth is covered in silver. And I was like, is there going to be weird metal mouth talking? And at the end of the trailer, there's just a real quick moment. Yes, it's going to be weird metal mouth talking, and it's going to be creepy, and I don't like it.
But why?
I don't know. So that they don't have to take their heads and just like flip them around whenever they're supposed to be talking, like in the TV show. Because you notice that it's like one of them's having an attack of some sort. I don't know why I'm doing the movement. It's an audio podcast. But yeah, so I'll just post a GIF of it on our GIF, whatever. I'll post it on the Twitters. Also, there's a real quick shot of like one of the girls kissing another guy, and it's like 3 frames maybe, but it's just like wow again. There's so many gross kisses. Logan, gonna be great. Real excited about that. Part of it's based in Texas because in the gas station he like grabs some stuff right before they leave, and then there's an I Heart Texas thing. Awesome.
Nice.
Kong Skull Island.
Yes.
Gonna be beautiful. Really excited.
I'm excited.
Lots of
I'm
IMAX.
Excited for that one.
It's going to be ridiculous, but I'm really excited.
So monster movies are coming back in. I'm okay with that. Godzilla was good. You know what's?
No.
I liked Godzilla. I did.
I did not like Godzilla.
And it's the same director that did Rogue One. So that's the job that got him Rogue One. So you have to like it on merit.
No, it's bad.
No. I refuse.
It had,
you know what else is bad?
What?
I'm just gonna throw my opinion out here at the start. The Great Wall, which is our main topic for today.
I loved it so much; it was so bad.
So normally I try to like watch movies because I'm like the little nitpicky things are not going to be important when I actually go and do a review of this thing. But I actually took my phone out in the theater and wrote notes on this one because I was just the whole way through going, "What?"
You see, I was gonna do that, but then there was like people around me, and I'm like, crap.
I sat behind everyone so that I wouldn't be bugging them.
I was almost tempted to, actually, because there were things that I was just like, that's so stupid, but I'm not going to remember this later.
Well, there was too much to take.
Well, good news. I did it for all of us.
I had reserved seats. They made me choose. I was like, okay, I guess that one.
You got upgraded for basically free. Actually, your tickets were the same price as mine, and I didn't get to go the XD one.
Well, they...
nice.
Yeah, the only... early showing was like XD, so I was expecting like $7.
Yeah.
$5.14.
Nice.
I was like, sweet.
Yep. And then I paid $5.14 to have to go sit with the plebs in the regular seating.
Yeah. Shame.
I'm one of those plebs.
That opening shot, which was just
God.
a super CG. Oh,
it's the Great Wall of half-rendered animation, and then like the brick breaks open and we go through the brick.
It was just
into
like,
the desert.
what kind of 2001 crap is this?
Right? It was like the Matrix came and vomited special effects onto this movie. Mm-hmm. But like halfway through the render. It was not what were they doing?
The special effects throughout the movie were not bad.
No.
But this opening sequence was so awful. It was just
really
like,
weird.
Are we even...
And it's not like anything happened either. It's like
I don't think they were even showing
no
like pre-roll credits on it.
No.
It was just here's the
no
Great
purpose.
Wall. Yeah. It was purposeless, which is what this movie should have been called. Let's talk about... Okay, so we're going to
Talk about the talking?
spoilers free first. I realized previously we didn't really do spoilers free. We just went and we're like, blah, review. So we're going to do a real quick spoilers free thing, and then we'll do a all spoilery. Not that anyone will ever care, but we'll do an all spoilery review here in a couple minutes. But in general, how would you guys say special effects were, aside from that opening garbage?
Not bad most of the time.
Yeah.
Pretty
It
okay.
was all right.
Okay. I think they were really bad most of the way through. Because here's the thing is like, if it's good CGI, you won't really notice it.
Okay, I definitely noticed it.
Yeah.
I was just more distracted by how terrible just it was as anything. It was
yeah.
so
I
bad.
was distracted about how motionless that
Everyone?
Matt Damon was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In his face, it's always like he has to poop.
Yeah.
He's
Like everyone has to
love
poop.
Matt
Why do you
Damon,
just
like-
see everyone is constantly constipated?
Well,
What
he
is
has
the
that
world
look-
like through your
He
eyes?
has that look.
Well, it's just like, I don't know. Matt Damon's a great actor. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
him
I
in
like Matt
everything
Damon.
he's in. And I'm just like, well, okay. A lot of my problem with this movie was just the dialogue. I was just like, who wrote this script?
There's
Were
okay.
they 12?
It felt like nobody could act. It felt like a high school play. I loved it.
Yeah, here's
The first run of a high school play.
like when they get invited into the great courtroom or whatever. They said,
Spoilers.
"We are honoring you for whatever." He goes, "We are honored to be honored." And the guy beside him says, "Is that the best you can come up with?" But I imagine that was like what the screenwriter's mom said to him when she read that line, and he went, "That's
sounds
real.
pretty
I'll
good."
add it in."
Yeah.
Like, what was that? Like, it was supposed to be a little funny moment, but the thing is, that's not clever.
No.
It's not.
I feel like that hindered a lot of the acting because
Oh, yeah.
Matt Damon, I've seen
Dude,
plenty of good stuff
fantastically.
come from him, and the dialogue definitely messed him up some.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The script writing was...
Before we rip this apart a little bit more, I do want to everyone go around and say one nice thing about the movie, so that we can at least say that we did try our best to like something in this. I liked that all the characters who were supposed to be Chinese were actually Chinese actors.
And they were speaking
Yeah, I
Chinese.
agree. Yeah.
And that was this. There's a lot of controversy that's been around this movie. They're like, it whitewashed it, but it legitimately the whole story was that they're foreigners in China. So this is not a case of whitewashing. And the people who were supposed to be Chinese were like actual Chinese actors. I thought that was great, and
Yeah.
they did a better job than those darn foreigners.
Yeah.
Generally
They
speaking,
did okay.
generally speaking.
Okay.
Well, the main actress,
Did poorly.
you think so?
Yeah.
I liked her.
Okay. But no,
she was
bad.
off to me.
Maybe I just liked her armor. The
Oh,
armor
She
was
did-
fantastic
Yeah.
in this. I
Oh.
loved it. I loved it because it was different and it was out of place. And I liked it was cool to look at.
It was neat to look at, but I don't know. I guess I just get so wrapped up in the history of some sort of film, even if it, does have these alien creatures or whatever. But it's just like, why are they wearing plastic?
Yeah.
It's
I didn't think it would look like plastic.
instantly where my mind goes, oh, I thought it looked plastic. I thought it felt like, I don't know, Power Rangers meets World of Warcraft.
But it's
Power of Warcraft.
This is time for positivity.
Yes.
Sorry.
Time for positivity. Okay, I said my nice thing. Actually, I think I said two. I liked the look of the armor. I liked the design of it.
Yeah.
Whether it was plasticky or not, they were cool
Yeah.
designs. And I did think that the casting was, for what this was, pretty good. Micah, it's your turn to say something nice about the Great Wall.
Well, I loved it a lot. But not because it was good. So let me think.
Do you need some time?
You want to come back?
I thought some of the gadgets were pretty neat that were in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the gadgets were pretty neat to look at.
Cool. I've got a couple notes about those.
I thought overall it was pretty.
Yeah.
Like, it was really visually pleasing.
There were a lot of bright colors.
Yeah.
And in a world full of Batmans, that's nice.
The lanterns.
That
I
was gorgeous.
The lantern ceremony after
Oh
the general died.
yeah. And spoilers, man.
Sorry.
Jeez. There's a lantern ceremony where maybe someone is happy. And I like that when they float up, I'm trying to reverse spoilers, but I can't. When they float up, it kind of like takes on the shape of the Great Wall where they were released. Yeah, that was
It
real
was
neat.
so pretty. I loved it.
Yeah.
I
So-
wanted to sing Tangled songs.
Me too. That's what I was thinking.
Katie, what's your nice thing to say about the Great Wall? And remember, you only have to get through this, and then we can go get your pitchforks.
Okay. I'm just kidding.
You're definitely the angriest person on this podcast.
Probably. I guess the drums got me. Like when they're starting the back. I was bobbing my head to it. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the drums were cool. I
thought that was fantastic.
I have some stuff to say about the drummers as well. Now, just so that everyone knows, I didn't edit more time in there, so it sounded like she was really struggling. That was actually how hard she had to think. That is unedited. So, yeah. Did you like the battle sequences for the most part? Or did you think they were just terrible?
They were stupid.
awful.
Cool.
They were really stupid.
I felt like there was like 1 or 2 moments I was like, neat. And then the rest of it was just like,
Yeah.
monster design. Let's talk the design of the monsters. Those big ones that surround the queen, those were not shown in the trailer. So when I saw them, I was like, oh, cool. That's different. I didn't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The eyes being on the shoulders, I thought was an interesting choice.
I thought it was a bad choice.
That was weird. That was weird to me.
Nothing is that way anatomically. Nothing.
Well, I mean,
Like,
you ever bump your shoulder into a wall? Evolutionarily, they've figured out how to avoid just randomly hitting walls for no reason.
There you go.
okay.
Also, I just made up the word evolutionarily, so I'm evolutionarily figuring out how to get
No,
to a
you didn't make
sentence.
up that word.
That's a word.
That's
it a word?
real word.
Oh,
I guess if you didn't know about it, then you did make it up.
I did. Take that, Darwin. I assume he maybe made it up. I don't know.
Probably.
Was he an etymologist?
Well,
Which is a word.
the
that
idea
one.
of something evolving has been around before Darwin.
I know, but didn't he put it in his little book?
He did put it in his little book, but
Cool.
It was kind of big.
he put a lot of words in his little book, but he didn't make those up.
How do I say THE? I'm a genius. Okay, so before we move on to no spoiler stuff, now that we've all taken a break to potty, I'm going to leave it in. I don't care. Before we move on to that, were you, without discussing what the ending was, were you satisfied with the ending or dissatisfied with the ending? Or did you not care?
I didn't care.
Cool.
I didn't care. Yeah, I didn't care.
Cool.
I guess the ending could have been better, but I was well satisfied leaving the theater.
Okay. Like, because you got to leave?
No, because I enjoyed it a lot.
Cool. But for, like, not the reasons that the filmmakers intended.
Oh.
Cool. All right. So we're going to go into spoilers now because
It's hard not to.
whatever. This is our show. We can do what we want. Thanks for your enthusiasm. That was a very enthusiastic yawn.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about that first scene where we meet Matt Damon and his friends, that guy, the Spaniard, and the 20 other men that are with them. So they get chased and they escape from these bandits or whatever. Doesn't matter. They just ride on a horse and one guy gets an arrow in his leg and it kind of wiggles around a little bit.
And then they're in a cave, and it sounds like...
Are they in a cave? They're on a cliffside, right?
No, there was that one point when they were talking around the fire and they were all still alive. And it sounded like the audio was coming through one speaker through a cup.
Yes, definitely. Audio was all over the place.
Also,
for that,
there was a point within that same 5 minutes where just whatever they were doing with the cameras, you couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah, it was like everyone was, no matter what angle you switched to, everyone was on the same side of the screen, and it was really close. And it and this is partially because of I went and watched a couple of Chinese film clips to kind of get used to this. But there's a section of it where Matt Damon pulls a sword out of his horse, and it's like a close-up shot, and then it jumps back to a only slightly wider shot of him continuing that action, but it kind of overlaps, and apparently that's a stylistic thing. But no, you can't tell what's going on in that opening scene. And if the idea was to make you feel claustrophobic and scared, I just felt confused and angry.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, this scene cost me, 25 cents?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm getting my
Also,
money's
the dialogue
worth.
was just this, yes, this.
Oh.
I'll take the magnet.
And then I'll
Fine, you
die.
can take it. I'll throw it. Now the magnet is over there, and you will have to walk to get it. Ha ha!
Why don't you just stay here? I'll leave you behind. No, don't. Okay.
Yeah. Congratulations, you can write a Hollywood film, Micah.
And the scene where they're attacked by a monster around the campfire.
The one Tao Te scout.
I did not know that anybody died.
Me neither.
Exactly.
The next scene, there was 2 of them, and it's like, they killed our men. It's like, oh, it did?
I was like, oh, they died?
There's 20 other men with them, apparently.
20?
And the Tau... yes.
It seemed like 3 or 4.
That's
Yeah,
what I
I thought it
thought,
was
too.
4.
But when I went and looked up, like, the actual... like, this is what happens in each scene, 20 other men are with them. And there's one little trail of blood.
They look all the same, too.
And
Yeah.
this monster with shoulder eyes was able to take out 20 of them silently.
Yeah, and Matt Damon and this one dude, Pablo, I think his name is.
Is his name Pablo? Katie,
Tovar.
did you look? Tovar?
Oh, in the movie.
Toe bar? Like a bar of toes?
Are you talking about this friend?
Yeah, his friend. Whatever.
Tovar.
So Tovar and Matt Damon, they're able to just
William.
kill these things like back and forth, easy peasy, no problem. And their friends just get 18 of their friends or 20 of their friends get killed by them, and one of them in a span of like 7 seconds.
To be fair, he had the little magnet rock, which shuts them down Phantom Menace style.
But most of the time he didn't.
But he did it in the cave, because remember the guy threw it away? So that separates Damon and the bar of toes from the rest of the guys in the camp. He's got the magnet on him, and that's why when the thing got close, he was able to just like, swish, swish, I cut off your arm.
But I mean, like, even later in the movie, they were able to kill like
Oh yeah, you're
10
right.
of these
I'm
things.
stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to
these
make
guys
excuses
can't-
for-
This guy
When-
can't kill, or these guys, these 20 guys apparently. I thought it was 4, but these 20 guys can't kill one.
Maybe 16 of them died in the Mongol raid. I don't know. Were they Mongolians? Were they Northern Chinese? Were
I
they?
don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe they were Tao Te
They
in
were
human
Huns.
skin.
But man, Tovar did not have luck going into the desert. Every time he went into the desert, he got captured by something. Like 3
Also,
or 4
why was
separate
he wearing
occasions.
eyeliner?
Oof.
Spaniards.
Okay.
Where was Matt Damon from?
I don't know. I want to talk about the
His
accents.
accent changed like 5 times at
He's
least.
Not just
obviously
his.
like
All the white
European,
guys.
like,
Yeah.
European. But it was just like in that time period, the accent that he was using did not exist.
Was it Irish? Was it Scottish?
It wasn't
sounded-
Scottish.
It was
Northern,
mostly
maybe.
American, but
Yeah.
there was like hints of Irish in there.
And then there's Willem Dafoe. He's just like, "Hey guys, we need to escape from this place."
I've got a pumpkin bomb. Why was Willem Dafoe in this movie?
Back to formula.
Zero purpose.
He's just a guy who's been held captive for 25
Yeah,
years and then dies by a campfire.
And then, wait,
Just because he exploded.
yeah.
Because they were playing with bombs like they were fun toys. Because apparently they're children. I don't know.
And the thing is, like, when they pulled those rocks, so just to kind of give everyone an idea of what's going on, because I know none of the people listening to this have watched this movie.
we went from the beginning to the very end.
Yeah, at the very end, because Willem Dafoe is absolutely useless. So we're not like as a person,
He's a great actor and probably a good guy. I don't know.
just in this movie. I mean, he is. I will never see him as anything but the Green Goblin. Like, even if I run into him on the street, I'll be like, Spider-Man, come help. But
He's scary looking.
he's a very scary looking. He's got a pointy face.
Yeah.
Also, his wrinkles like fold over each other. Anyway,
Make him look evil.
at the end of the movie, him and Tovar, whatever. Tovar, the guy who has toes, they get away from the Great Wall that they were not supposed to, carrying a bunch of stolen black powder. He abandons Tovar, and then, I'm sorry, I'll let you speak in a minute. I'm going to let you finish, but Beyonce had the best out.
Stop.
But he gets away. He abandons Tovar by telling him to go check the high ground to see which way they should go, even though Willem Dafoe is the one that knows the way. It's stupid. And then he gets captured by the Mongolian Hun peoples.
Who knows?
And then they like open his bags and see what appears to be a bunch of rocks, and immediately start throwing them around like they're beach balls and whatever. Like, I don't know what they thought they were, but they're tossing these rocks to each other and giggling.
Yeah, they were having a lot of fun.
It's just like,
his
what are they
face the
smoking?
entire time.
Yeah, he's got the thing. He's like, no. To this day, Willem Dafoe's greatest lines.
But when they introduced him in the movie,
He's just like
He was just
skulking
creeping around
around.
the
he's
corner.
a scared little
monk.
monk.
He
and
looks
then
like a monk.
Yeah.
He's like in his facial expressions.
He's just like,
Yeah, white eyes.
You know no one can see what you're
I know,
doing
no,
right now, right?
I know,
tried
but
to
that
add
was for
vocals.
you guys.
We're not doing this for us. This is for our many 20 listeners.
But anyway, Like,
Who we're thankful
when
for.
he first
Thanks.
had the idea to escape,
Right.
it's like, he's going to betray you.
And later on, we find out he's a mercenary, but then somehow he knows both Latin and English and is teaching it to everyone who's
Yeah.
stationed at the Great Wall. And it's just like
They're-
he goes from church mouse to like angry badger.
Pretty much.
They're all very learned for people of that time. Very impressive.
It's
Not realistic.
also.
So you're saying that this movie would have been better if everyone was a bit dumber.
Can we
It would have
just
been more accurate.
clarify that Spain didn't exist as Spain?
Yeah, no.
So he can't say that he's from Spain. Spain wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
Mm.
it wasn't.
Well, was he? He did. Who was from Ireland though?
I don't know.
Somebody was from Ireland.
The ol-
Probably Matt Damon, or at least like one
See,
of his many personalities.
Okay, I just have to say, an actor of his caliber should be able to do an English accent. The thing is, if you just sit down for a few hours with tapes or whatever practicing, you can do it. Amateurs can do it.
But it wasn't supposed to be English.
I don't know what
It
it was
was
supposed to be.
what-
Definitely supposed
Maybe
to
it
be.
was
It sounded northern
something
or
Irish.
something, maybe.
Maybe it was a misdirection from the director. Like, I mean,
But he switched back and forth so much.
I know, but
yeah.
it could have been a director.
Part of me wonders if because the director is he's what?
13?
No, he's a lot older than that. I think his first big movie was in like 1989, but he's a Chinese director, and I feel like maybe there were points in time where he was like, okay, we're gonna roll, and there was some type of mistranslation where they said, okay, this is a practice, Matt,
Yeah.
and then they rolled and went, okay, moving on.
I feel like they
and Matt
took-
was like, wait. What?
Yeah. It felt like they took the first like practice run through of everything. It all felt like a first read through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was no relationship between anybody.
Yeah.
it's very strange.
And then
And-
if there was supposed to be a connection between him and that, what's her face? What's that lady? The one that you liked her outfit.
The general.
Yeah, the
Eventually.
Lin.
General, yeah, just
General.
General Lin.
Yeah.
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 If there was supposed to be a connection between them, I didn't feel it.
It was weird.
It was forced.
Yeah.
It was forced,
This
it
is
was
a male.
weird.
This is a female. They're doing the same thing.
They both
There you go.
have.
They're on the same
weapons.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kiss.
Yeah, basically.
Which,
I just have
but
to,
Except they
no,
didn't.
well, I know, but it's like
It's just, yeah.
that's what it felt like that they were trying to do, but then
Yeah.
at the end,
Oh
bye.
gosh, I hope I don't have the hiccups. It's gonna make this very difficult.
but Tovar, so he switched accents too, and all he had to do was Spanish, and he looks like the actor seems like he's actually.
But maybe he
Spanish.
knew that Spain didn't exist yet.
Well,
But he-
the accents and the language and everything, that was still there.
Yeah.
Like, the people were still what we today would consider Spaniards, but Spain as a whole country was not in existence.
But
I imagine that made his character very conflicted.
he changed accent so many times, and the only time he went back to Spanish is when he was like, amigo, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing Spanish. Amigo, 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 and that was the only thing that enforced that was the word amigo.
Amigo. Okay, so earlier on in the movie, before he says amigo for the first time, there's Matt Damon and Tobar. I don't remember what Matt's character's name is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
William.
William.
William, that's
Okay,
right.
I'm going to try and call them by their movie names.
Okay.
William, Damon, and Tobar break free on the Great Wall during the first attack of the Tao Te. And he starts, bow and arrowing it up, and they're like, you're real good with the bow, you're not an enemy anymore, even though we know you're warriors, and you came here to steal our black powder. You're being honored, powder. And then they get in there, and they want a demonstration from him showing his prowess, even though he's already killed more Tao Te than most of the people who were on the wall, and we're just going, oh no, my plastic armor isn't ready for this. and so he shoots 3 arrows. They throw a bowl up. The first arrow hits the bowl over towards a pillar, and then it's the second and third arrow, which he fires simultaneously, but not simultaneously somehow, because like one hits, then the other hits, even though he had them on the same release. And the bowl balances on top of that. We know what happened to the 2 arrows that are stuck in the pillar, right?
Yeah.
That first arrow that like glances off the bowl, definitely hit someone in the face. There's no way that.
Someone died. Bravo.
That's great though. Look at that bowl.
You want to hear something funny about this movie?
Please.
You got a 6.3 out of 10.
What?
Are you kidding me?
That's way too happy of a rating.
That is incredibly high for something really, really terrible.
Ugh.
I can't. I don't understand.
Maybe we'll get a lot of angry tweets about this.
Who knows?
I'd just be glad if someone tweeted this.
That's so sad.
I check the Twitter like every 5 minutes, and it's always just like, yeah, no one's responded. And not just the Roll Sound Twitter, also my own personal one. I'm a very lonely man.
Oh, that's sad.
It's okay. He has a wife.
Yes, but she doesn't tweet me either.
I get on Twitter, I read things. Sometimes I retweet things, but it's not very often.
Well,
But
it's
if
probably
you
best
guys-
that you don't get on Twitter, because most of my tweets are just making jokes of the things you've done throughout the day.
lovely. Well,
Also, I'd like to throw out there that Abby has gotten herself a Twitter that she has no idea how to use. So please tweet her a billion things. Her user handle is @AbbyK8M. And just tweet her a billion things. It'll be so much fun.
Give me a reason to be on Twitter.
Yeah.
I need a reason to be on Twitter.
Her Twitter handle is the lady with the pitchforks.
No, it isn't.
What is it?
At Katie Fain.
And it's KATIE FAIN. So,
Cool.
so now that we've plugged ourselves enough. Oh, also at Roll Sound Pod is ours. I'd like to also talk about how old Matt Damon is in this movie. Not because Matt Damon is old, but because he sits there and details like a bunch of historical battles that he's been a part of, and there's no way that he's not wrinklier than Willem Dafoe if he's been in that many battles.
Yeah.
I was listening to him list all of those, and I was like, if I remember correctly, those didn't all happen within like the same 10 years.
Yeah, but he's just over there like, yeah, I started out cleaning up the battle after the battle as a boy, and then I fought for France, Spain, which doesn't exist, Portugal, probably World War II, just all over the place. He's like, I fought for many flags, and she goes, we are not the same. She gets very mad because he did things to eat,
Yeah.
which is dumb. Because, like, okay, I understand there's a lot of, like, from where she is coming from. That was a weird way to say that. Where she is coming from, it's about honor, it's about loyalty, it's about trust in your fellow man and your family, and which is, your people. And then he's over there like, yeah, I just, I killed people. It's work.
Yeah.
And she gets very upset about it, but he even tells her, I was given to an army as a baby.
Yeah.
Like, I had no choice. And she's just like, you jerk.
Yeah.
I in the moment I didn't think about it, but now that I'm thinking back, I'm like, you could have just been like, well, how would you like to fight for one people that like you? She could have offered him something he never had instead of going, we are not the same, and then like stomping away and taking all of her little friends with him. It was like a high school clique. Like
all the girls in blue left with her.
yeah. Why are you raising your hand? The microphone is on.
Well, I have a fun fact about Matthew Damon. Matthew Damon.
I didn't know you guys were close enough to use his formal name.
We are best friends.
Close enough.
Anyway,
Back off, Matt Damon. She's mine. I do a terrible Irish accent too. I can make this
you want
work.
to know what his middle name is?
Please tell me it's Taute.
No, it's Paige.
What?
Aw, that's so cute.
Matthew Paige Damon, born on October 8th, 1970.
That sounds like the start of a poem.
He's only a year younger than my mother.
Matthew Page Damon. Cool.
I just saw that and I figured I'd share.
Well, now we know. Let's talk about something else. There's they sit there and like the first battle. Why are you laughing?
Because I can.
Okay. The first battle, they're tied up for the first, 75% of it. And, like, as soldiers are going by, Matt Damon and Tovar, I'm never going to remember William. Matt Damon and Tovar are relegated they're the main characters of this movie, and they just sit there and go, okay, red or foot soldiers, black or blah, blah, blah. The blue ones, what do the blue ones do? They're all women. What is this? Women? And it's just 10 minutes of them going, this is what's happening now.
Also, I'd like to point out, they send the women in to get killed first.
Right? How messed
On
up is
fishing
that?
lines, yeah.
Although I did think that was pretty cool, like having them be...
The idea
they call them
of
crane
the
warriors?
method of attack is fascinating.
That was cool.
However, all the girls got killed first.
And,
Yeah,
and there was
they're
like a pile of...
There's a pile of them.
Shields, yeah,
They
stirrings.
toss them aside like they're like, oh, another one. Like, oh well.
Because like when you're first introduced to the blue soldiers, they seem like the highest elite group, but then like 30 of them die immediately, so it's like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they definitely killed a lot of ladies.
A
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: when they were getting invaded by these monsters, there were like a million of them at least. There was enough to pile up on the wall and come over. However, it was a struggle to fight just one of them.
Right.
With 2 or 3 people on it. There is no way they could have handled all that because there were millions of them. Like, the numbers didn't line up with what was actually going on.
Yeah. And then, like, one would get on the wall, and Matt Damon's just like, I'm not tied up anymore. Here's a bow. I hit his shoulder. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
And, like, at one point, Tovar has a red cloth and, like, goes, hey, come over here.
It's like, what is it, a bull now? Like,
Yeah, he treats it like a bull. And,
so good.
and then, like, he flips it away. And instead of having a spear or a javelin, Matt Damon's there waiting on a shot he could miss. And he goes... and the arrow releases and it flies and it hits this thing in its eyeball, and then he just kind of has to duck as it flies over him dead. It's like, have a stationary weapon you can just kind of adjust a little bit, not one that you could like the string is gonna break and whack you in the face and then you'll get eaten.
Yeah.
This is a stupid moment.
One of my favorite moments when they were still tied up was it was just them. But right before you saw them, it was a shot of them. But right before then, one of the monsters got on the wall. And there was like a second lag. And then you look at Tovar. And he's like, ah! And it was just so much like, this is what happens when an actor is reacting to something that's not there.
Like, someone just rolled and went, okay,
Be scared.
what would be your reaction if there was your ex-wife over there? Ah! And then he like turned and went, I'm just kidding. No, she's fine. And then they went, okay, moving on.
Use that.
We're using that.
great job.
I'd also like to point out that the Nameless Order has a name. It's the Nameless Order.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a stupid name, but it's a name nonetheless.
Okay. So when they said the Nameless Order, for some reason my brain went to Star Wars.
No, that's the First Order.
Well, I know,
It's an
but
order.
I know, but my brain went to Star Wars. Like,
You really
just
love
do that.
Star Wars, though.
I do.
What's funny is I thought I was the big Star Wars nerd, and I was explaining to her all of these things before we went to go see The Force Awakens. And like after a 30-minute spiel, she goes, "Yeah, I know." It's like, why'd you let me yap on like that? She goes, "I thought it was cute."
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
But-
You were so excited to show me these things, and
Yeah, but if I had known that you would known those things, I would have shown you something else.
it's fine. I thought it was
I would've-
cute.
Anyway, yeah, Katie loves Star Wars. She asks to watch it a lot more often than I do. Okay, so let's talk about some of the defenses of the Great Wall. The trebuchet things were really neat. They had big boulders that they lit on fire, and then we got to see that fly. Then they also, for some reason, had boulders with spikes. Like, that's going to do any more damage?
Yeah, I don't know.
So they were just like, hey, we've already done the boulder thing once. What should we do? Spikes.
Perfectly round boulders, by the way. I don't know how they get
Yeah,
them
how
so
are they
heavy
getting
and
so
like that.
many of those, too? Because they're launching, 20, 30 at a time?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And so, also, like, when they first are going, when they're captured outside the wall and they're taken up to the top of the wall, there's this long shot, and they tried to disguise the fact that it was several. So they go up, and we start passing by a large wooden beam, and the camera pans left and, like, pushes in on a beam, and then the beam fills the area, and then it comes and like turns back right to see the characters. And so it's like, hey, we did an unbroken shot. And it's like, no, you cut right there. There was a glitch. And then it's this constant, like, all the space is definitely, this is where this is where this is. And then we get up to the top of the Great Wall, and it goes through the floor up into the open air, and Matt Damon is walking up with the rest of the group from further back than the elevator was.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be one continuous shot because we watch a statue rise, and so we have something to measure the time with, and then he suddenly just appeared further back on the wall. Because why not?
It was pretty confusing spatially.
Maybe
it was very... Also, landscape. Can we talk about the landscape?
you can.
It's just, I don't know if it's like they took some old set from the Lord of the Rings Return of the King and the part where there's like the big lair that's all green and stuff, and then they took some shots of Arizona and threw it in there, and
But also there's like a
And copied and pasted.
cave thing
yeah,
Right.
that they all come out of for some reason.
yeah.
Also, I'd like to point out, okay, the origin of the Tao Te. It's explained that there's an emperor further back who was real greedy, and so a meteor crashed.
Yeah.
That's their explanation for this. They're like, the emperor, blah, blah, blah. His greed was destroying China, and so a meteor crashed. And it made the mountain glow green. And every 60 years, arbitrarily, the monsters come and attack, and if they ever get through the wall, they will cover all the earth.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one part that's kind of like true to history. I feel like that's how they would have explained it back then. It's like, well, he was greedy, so a meteor came because God was mad at them.
Or one of the
Yeah.
gods. How many?
I don't know how.
Are
I
there?
don't know,
At that
I don't know
point, I'm
Chinese
not
religion.
sure.
Yeah. There's some cool defenses in this movie.
Like the wall scissors?
Yeah, that was what I was going to say, the wall scissors. And they're like they're manually operating these things from inside. That was awesome. I loved watching those things get chopped in half by these wall scissors. If they just had those, they
That'd
wouldn't
be
need
fine.
anything else.
Yeah, just kind of like bricklay them.
Yeah, just all the way
Yeah,
up the
all the
wall,
way
and then have a guy in there who just all he does is push-ups on his off days,
Yeah.
and then when the monsters come, he just scissors away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you save all the iron you spend on those giant spherical boulders and spend it on scissors,
Right?
and you're good.
Yeah.
Stop making plastic armor. Just get some safety scissors on those areas where you're real worried about one of the undertrained soldiers.
Yeah.
Why didn't they have more? They only used them once.
Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't they use them in the first wave?
Also,
Right.
There were so many in the
they
first
were
wave.
set on using different like tools and tactics for different waves.
Yeah,
But all the waves were the same.
Yeah.
One time it was foggy, but that was the only difference.
Yeah.
I did. Okay, so the foggy time. That's when they had the horns
Explosives.
out, right? And they were listening.
Yeah.
So I did think. So when I first saw it, I saw the bell of the horn, and because I was looking up from taking a note, and I saw the bell of the horn, and I was like, "What are they gonna do? Toot at them?"
Yeah, I thought there was
And
something.
the queen goes, "Oh, not a good day today, guys. Let's go home.
Yeah.
We'll come back in 60 years." Like, what was that? But then as it went up, and I saw the guy listening. But the thing is that this horn is resting on the wall itself, on a guy's shoulder, and then the guy's got it to his ear. If a mouse farted inside the Great Wall, they would have heard that before they heard the Tao Te, because it's directly on this thing.
It's just like I feel like they needed to be longer, like stretched to the ground so that you could hear that.
Right.
But I was like,
Also, they
Even-
were completely pointless because the Tao Te just reaches over, like, grabs the guy, is like, "No horn for you."
Yeah, I don't know why they need to listen for him.
Just start throwing things into the abyss and hope you hit at something.
Yeah, sure.
Use the whistling arrows. Just fire one into the fray every, 5 minutes or so. I'm sure that one of the people the guy they sent to the kitchen, he could have just been making more.
yeah.
The guy in the kitchen stacked full of dishes, wearing full armor,
Right?
And an apron.
an apron.
That was pretty funny. It's just like, that's demeaning.
Like, bro, you've still got your helmet on.
Yeah, at least take the helmet off.
It's got to be hot inside there.
Yeah.
Like everybody else has like completely taken all of their armor off. You can at least take your helmet off.
Yeah.
You're in the kitchen.
Unless he's just being demeaned in every way possible.
For dropping a bowl once.
How dare you?
Yeah, they were really
Did you
harsh
know
for
that
him
was
dropping
sleeping
bowl.
potion before they said it later on? Like,
No.
it'll take more time for the sleeping potion to work?
When they
Yes.
were mixing it, it looked like Tang, so that's what I thought it was.
We're gonna give him some delicious astronaut drink.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. I didn't know. I guess I missed
They
whatever
said
they
something
said.
about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just missed that. But it was like they were coating all of these things with mac and cheese,
Yeah.
and they let the
Queso?
macaroni. Yeah, queso. I was trying to say Kraft cheese sauce, but that's not what came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But I was just like, why are you coating it in cheese? And does it smell bad? Because everyone was like, pointing their face away from it?
Because they were trying not to fall asleep.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. That works.
So, bigger picture-wise... Okay, so most of the details of this movie are ridiculous and awful and wonderful in that way. But just as a movie, the way the plot moved...
It moved?
It was formulaic, and they had each component that you need for a plot to move, but it was not in any way connected artfully or done well.
No.
To put things into perspective, this movie had approximately the same runtime as The Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, did it really?
It was 2 hours.
Cool. Yeah. That's right, it was. Ooh.
Now, think about how you felt after The Fellowship of the Ring.
In
Lots
awe?
of action, lots of very good visual stuff.
It was one I wanted to talk about.
And you were attached to the characters, and you knew the relationship that every single character had with all the others.
Yeah.
You loved the characters. At the end of this one, you didn't know who anybody was or how they related
I
to
knew
each other.
nothing to the characters.
We're struggling to remember William.
Yeah. You don't remember names. And so it's just interesting to see how, in the same amount of time, they managed to basically do nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Transformers 4. Or
It's just an example of how artfully you can do something. And
and I don't think the concept was flawed. I think it was a cool concept, and I do like that they opened it and said this is one of the legends. Like, we know this isn't historically accurate. Just have some fun.
Yeah.
But that's no excuse for not doing anything fun, except for scissors.
Yeah.
If scissors are the best part of your movie, what are you doing?
I liked the stained glass.
That was pretty cool.
At the end,
ridiculous.
like when they got...
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't...
It was very pretty.
It was very pretty, and I think that's part of the thing is that this movie is very colorful, and that comes from the background of the director. He, that colorful art style, that comes from, the Chinese filmmaking community. I liked that. I just wanted Matt Damon to say words without it being Matt Damon saying words.
Yeah.
Bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. The screaming arrows was a cool idea. I do say that because they were like, we shoot it and you can hear them approaching. What I don't get is that once they were down on the ground in the Ring of Fire, Matt Damon and the man with toes, we keep going back to that even though it's not funny. But they're down there and it's like, what are the odds that every single one that would jump into the Ring of Fire had a screaming arrow stuck in him in such a way that air would rush over it to make the whistle sound? Mm-hmm. You said what? There were 2 million down there? I'm assuming you counted.
Oh, yeah, I counted.
Yeah. So out of 2 million, they shot like 10 arrows, and every single one that jumped at Matt Damon was whistling Dixie as he came over the fire.
Yeah, for some reason when they were down there, only like 10 of the monsters attacked them out of thousands at least.
Right.
Hundreds
Billions.
of thousands. Millions at most.
It was somewhere between 1 and infinity. It was in there.
It's in there somewhere. So one of the first plot-moving moments, or one of the intended
plot-moving moments.
Yeah, was when the emperor dies, the emperor of the city.
You mean the general?
No, it was the general. Wasn't
The general.
the
Okay.
Emperor.
Well, it doesn't
The
matter.
emperor's like 12.
Yeah, the emperor.
Oh, that's right.
13 and a half. He was getting closer to that bar mitzvah.
There.
I don't understand Chinese culture.
But so
They had his wife picked out and everything.
They had that picked out when he was born.
It was his cousin.
This
Sorry.
general dies, and they act like it's really sad. But you've seen him speak maybe once or twice, and there's no character to him, so you don't care. But everybody's crying.
Who do you think had the most character in this movie? Apron Boy?
Yes.
Yeah, Apron
Yeah.
Boy, actually.
Actually, I do think it
Yeah.
was Apron Boy. Because it was like he was scared. He had been put in this army and he swore an oath, but he didn't really know what he was getting himself into. And then monsters attack, and what are you going to do? Put on an apron and do dishes if you're smart.
He was the only one with a character arc. Now that I actually think about it, nobody else had an arc. I mean, Matt Damon was
He
supposed to.
sacrificed himself.
He did. That was really cool.
He was the only one I cared about.
He was.
Also, Matt Damon says to him, "You're a lot braver than they think." When it's just them two, and he
doesn't
says
speak
it,
English.
and like, yeah, the guy responds like it means something, but he only speaks Chinese.
I guess he just picked up on the tone. He's like, "Oh, good."
Maybe he picked up on the tone.
Yeah.
So Matt Damon could have walked by with the same tone of voice, said, "You're an idiot, and I hate your face."
You're really.
Also,
bad at
you missed a
everything.
spot on your dishes, and he would have been like, "Thank you."
Oof. But Matt, so one of the things I hate in bad movies or love, if I got to be in the right mood. I was in the right mood when I saw this because I knew what I was getting into. But when a character says to another character, "You're so different now." It's just like, okay, could you show and not tell? He is not different now. He's been the same throughout the entire movie. Has not changed. You say he's different because he used to be a mercenary, sure, but we never saw him as a mercenary.
He's still a mercenary. He's just a mercenary who, shot something with an eye on its shoulder for a girl that would never like him.
He's just this ultra generic, just stoic man who does the right thing. It's like, all right, whatever.
Matt Damon is action hero.
Yeah.
Basically.
Fantasy action hero.
Fantasy. Oh, I'm sorry. I miscategorized him. See, and we actually did an episode of Boomshot last week. And Boomshot is for those of you who don't know, it's our weekly series about filmmaking and all that stuff. So we kind of, just try and teach people about storytelling. And we did an episode about not saying exactly what everyone is thinking and feeling. And I am underqualified to be talking about these things. But even I know you don't turn to someone and go, "You're a very different man now. Your character arc is complete." Yeah. You arced real good. Why did they have to do that? This is very exposition heavy. Yeah. And
from what?
From fantasy action hero to fantasy action hero whose movie is almost over.
He shaved.
Oh, that's right. He did shit. You know what? I take it all back. Great movie.
Great movie.
You changed your beard is what they meant.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So, the magnet idea I thought was a pretty interesting concept. Not well executed, but interesting concept.
Horribly executed. It must be the magnet. All right, way to arrive at that immediately.
Yeah, we're not going to do anything to test it out. We're just going to...
Let's just bring it to the Emperor. It's the Imperial decree.
Right.
Well, the Emperor's 13, so I think we're going to keep the monster away from him.
Yeah.
That's parenting 101.
I like how in his demonstration to the Emperor, he's just like, I guess I'll go back about this far. And he doesn't stop. He doesn't stop incrementally. He just goes. It's like, this is probably good.
He goes right down 9 feet, and then the monster attacks.
9 feet?
You have to be within 9 feet of that thing?
Right.
You actually have to be closer to that. It's like 4 feet. But then later on, the magnet stops it from about 12 feet away. So I don't know what the rules are. There's no rules.
Also, yeah, like you said, feet?
Feet.
Yeah. Well, they don't deal in feet in China. I don't think they ever have.
No.
I
don't know what they deal in, but it's not feet, especially not in ancient
Bamboo
China.
sections at that point, I suppose?
Yeah, probably.
They would have said something more like 6 lengths or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 knots.
Something like that.
Okay.
12 knots. That's a little
12
far,
bamboo
Garrett.
sticks.
12 bamboo sticks. 19 panda links. Go. But I really don't understand anything about the history I'm talking about here. But, okay, I'm going to say another nice thing to keep us energized. They have black powder. That's kind of the whole point that Matt Damon is there.
For some reason.
Inexplicably. Why not? It's a MacGuffin. But in order to ignite the black powder, all the soldiers have a burning ember tied around their wrist. I liked that. I thought that was really cool to kind of they keep it there so they're ready to use it when they have to. Yeah. You guys don't have to agree with me on that. I thought that was
I just don't know how
something.
it keeps burning, but that's fine.
Depending on the material you have, some things will stay burning like that for a long time. Okay. Especially if you kind of every now and then just give it a little boost of air.
Yeah, I just hope they have it well insulated before it touches the wrist.
No, all of those guys have severe nerve damage in those hands. Don't get me wrong. But, so I did like that. There's a lot of stupid action in here. Matt Damon slides on the ground and shoots an arrow and hits a thing perfectly in the eye. When they're on the ground, this is what I was going to. Matt Damon and Tovar, they throw axes which loop around. Yeah, he says grab an axe. It's like from where? And it's just like it's in your hand.
And they have a 28-inch axe with a giant blade.
Right, and then they throw it and they curve in the air like boomerangs. And you think maybe this will hit a Taote right in the middle, but instead they just go dink. But they run into each other in the middle of the air. How is that? What?
Dink.
Dink.
Literally, that's all. I was just like, You're wasting valuable time and weapons.
Keep the axe with you.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why they were doing it when I watched it. After the movie, a friend of mine told me they were doing that to make a noise to attract the monsters, but I had no idea when that was
You know what
happening.
else would have done that? Running.
Yeah. Throwing
whistling.
rocks.
Yeah.
Not axes.
Singing a song.
Yeah.
Stamping your feet. Making a goat noise.
Clapping.
One of them could have farted. I don't care. Just
If they
stop
needed
throwing
the
your weapons
axes
away.
to hit together, they could have just been like,
Ding,
hitting
right there.
Yeah.
You didn't have to throw them. What was the point? Maybe
That's funny.
maybe those were supposed to hit a taute and the animators got it wrong and they just were like, throw the sound effect in, we gotta keep going.
I love how when they were down on the ground, the Chinese people just started throwing all the explosives down on him. And it's just like, what are you hoping for here? Like
They
they're
can't
going
see
to die.
him. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
There's fire, there's smoke, they can't see him. They're just throwing explosives at the two people that went to go capture the animal.
Yeah.
that was,
And I didn't understand how that scene ended. Like, there was some sort of bad thing that happened to Matt or William and Tovar, but I
yeah.
don't know what it was.
Like, well, I think all the explosions kind of like, knocked their brains around a little because exploding things are right around them.
Yeah.
And then Tobar is swinging at nothing near the wall. They open up a secret passageway, which we never ever see again. Pull Tobar in. Matt Damon passes out, and then he wakes up and like grabs a man's arm and is like, "Oh no, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm Matt Damon."
also, they could have used that secret opening way sooner.
Right?
Like, why
to
did
get
they-
Matt Damon down there instead
Well,
of telling him,
the whole
just
point-
jump off. How did he grab that chain when he jumped off the side of the wall?
Well, he'd practiced jumping off of things with the girl once, so he's an expert now.
No, he went up there and she said, "You have to trust." And he said, "I'm here because I don't trust anybody." And then he pouted his way away from the jumping practice.
Oh, that's right. So he was proving himself. Yeah, it was his character arc. He got the.
His character arc somehow grabbed onto a chain on its way down. And I call bull.
Okay, so the whole point of them going down there was to get the taute.
Yeah.
So
Blow it up.
Why couldn't they just, like, once they got it asleep and everything, just open up the trap door and pull it inside? Why did they have to wait for all the explosives to happen and then be like, "Oh, bro, remember that trap door we put in there? We should totally use it."
I feel like the guy in the kitchen like dropped another bowl and someone went, "What was that?" "Hey, there's a trap door downstairs."
And then they gave him more dishes because he dropped a bowl again.
Go to the kitchen where you belong. Now go empty the latrines where you belong there. It's so dumb. I'm a very angry man now.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm okay. When they're in the tunnel at the end, I'm jumping back and forth. I always do this. They're in the tunnel at the end, and someone like throws a shield, and Matt Damon catches it and throws it back and cuts off a Taute's arm. No idea how he caught the razor blade that was thrown at him.
Yeah, it worked out.
Just stupid.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool when he threw it. Not so cool when I found out how he got it and went. That made absolutely no sense. The queen's design, the Taute queen, interesting. She was the only one with eyes on her face.
Yeah.
The protectors around her also. No, they had eyes on their face as well.
They did, yeah.
And then they had these like,
Umbrellas?
flappers.
yeah, the umbrellas like the Jurassic Park venom spitting thing.
Only they're like steel?
Right, but here's the thing. Their face is outside of that umbrella. So anytime something hits and explodes, they're going, "Ow, my eye."
Wish these were on my shoulders.
Right. The noise.
The one that it would have made sense for, they don't do it.
The noise that the queen made, like, it sounded gross.
Well, it's a monster.
I know.
It's not like they're
Every
like, get
time-
Anne Hathaway
every
to
time-
voice the queen. Why?
And
It's
it
like
also
a radar
reminded me of
thing.
ants.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the queen ant. And
What did you guys think about the queen, like, killing her, that, the Phantom Menace style,
That's exactly what I said.
Ex
This is
Machina.
Star Wars Episode 1. Like, that
which
makes,
is not renowned for being brilliant.
That makes no sense evolutionarily. There's your word.
We brought
Like-
it full circle.
Why would a creature... Why would a whole species be tied to one thing and they all die if that thing is not there. Like, those things would die out
Well,
so
the thing
quick.
is that they don't die. They just
freeze.
freeze. Like, okay, so they're all on the side of this mountain. When I watched so they kill the queen. Spoiler alert, and they all freeze because without her, there's no brain. Because when your eyes are on your shoulders, there's no room for a mind in that giant skull, and.
Just start falling.
One of them starts falling, and then the rest fall, and all I could see was a barrel of monkeys.
Yes. That's okay. Honestly, that's the only thing I could think of. Anytime I saw them running was either a barrel of monkeys or those little, what are they called? The little green army guys.
Oh, yeah, little green army
Yeah,
guys.
the little green army guys. Like, that was what I was thinking of because it was just like a swarm of something, but it wasn't a scary swarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to have a swarm of monsters, I think you should have more monster variety, and I think that's one area where they really fell short.
And I think the point is that it's like they reproduce really quickly because they go get food, they vomit in their mom's mouth, and then she's like, blub, 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 here's some eggs and another one. I don't know if there's eggs.
Yeah,
she's reptilian, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who cares? No one cares. I don't care. Matt Damon didn't care. The director didn't care. Tobar didn't care.
You're still saying Tobar.
Because a bar of toes would have been more entertaining than that actor.
He did a bad job.
Whose name was Pedro, by the way.
It was Pedro.
Although if you look on Wikipedia, it says Pedo. So.
Oh, really? Pedro.
Yeah, or
That's bad.
yeah, not good. But just a giant, ugly, stupid mess. Ugh.
Well, like, the thing is, they've made their point several times in this movie that these creatures are insanely clever. Like...
Or more clever than they expected.
Well, yeah.
And then they're mostly not clever.
Really? It's the queen that's clever.
Terrible balance.
Well, apparently. But the thing is, like, they make that diversion on the wall at that one point.
And then never do it again.
Never do it again. And then they burrow through the wall. How did no one notice that?
Right? Why did the guy in the kitchen not go, whoa, bowls are dropping and it's not my fault. Something's digging under us. I'm very upset.
You can't have millions of creatures burrow through a wall without there being some residual damage.
Right,
Or at least some
especially-
noise.
Here's
Right?
the thing, like, there would have been a long line. It's like going to a large event and then trying to get into the women's bathroom. There would have been people shoving
that hole
and
was
going,
not
no.
big.
What are you doing trying to get into the women's bathroom?
I'm not speaking from personal experience, but I'm married to a woman who has done that.
Okay,
Yep.
fair enough. Good
Cool.
save.
Cleared that up.
Okay, sorry. I'm still stuck on the whole thing where when the queen dies, everybody disables. Wait, okay. That makes no sense because no species can survive that way. When the queen bee dies, the bees are like, okay, this is bad. We don't have a queen. What are we going to do? So they
And
start
then they dance.
they start working to reproduce and make a new queen. And then it's problem solved. But these things just flop. And, like, they might as well be dead because they're just going to starve.
The thing
and
is, they
can't
don't even
reproduce.
flop. I feel like this was partially because the animators were like, we're running out of money. They just freeze, and they don't turn into stone. They don't do anything special. They just no longer move.
If they turned into stone, that'd be kind of cool, actually.
Right?
Like that would have been an easy fix to it.
Yeah.
And especially because if you look at them, there's like designs and
Yeah, they got
They
the
could have
Chinese
been
designs.
cool statues.
right, and then
Right.
and then we could have flashed forward into the future and seen one of these things still alive that like keeps the legend going.
Oh yeah, just a statue
Not alive,
somewhere
but
in
like
China.
But like
statue
a
of it.
statue in China.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Like, I'd be down for that.
I just fixed this movie.
Also, like, magnet, stone, you know.
Yeah, just whatever.
There's a little bit of connection there. It makes more sense,
Yep.
More sense, yeah.
which is weird.
You're welcome, Hollywood.
That-
This podcast that 20 wonderful, lovely people listen to, or 10 people listen to twice, has just fixed your movie. I'm holding my arms out in victory. You can't see this, but I am in victory mode.
That can't fix this movie.
So now let's just move forward by plot. Now we're in the capital city.
Via balloon.
Via balloon.
Where a couple of them blew up, as long as they didn't have important characters on
A
them.
lot of them blew up, and the guy was like, "We failed," and it was like supposed to be this great defeat in the movie, but it wasn't. All right, whatever. Moving on. We're in the capital city now, where all the monsters are because they can run fast, and
because they dug under that wall silently.
yeah,
And all got through within like a matter of minutes.
and somehow the entire city isn't leveled because there's like 2 billion of them.
They've definitely multiplied at this point. Like it's less of like a large legion of soldiers and now a swarm, like definite swarm. And the Emperor's hiding behind his chair. It's like, what took you so long? It's like, oh no, we were plugging the hole. And then I had to ride a balloon, you maniac.
It's bad. It's real bad. So, what do you think about when they kill the queen?
I have a problem with when they leave the tower. So, last shot, they throw the magnetic rock, which creates a hole. I thought that was an interesting concept. That's the only way they were going to get through those things. I was actually wondering how they were going to do that, and they did it. Cool, great. Queen blows up, or the queen bites on it. They jump out of the window to accomplish this task, though. And it's like they back up, and they've got a hold of this rope, and they run forward just as the Tao Te are about to snip at their heels like a little, yappy chihuahua.
Yeah.
And then the next shot we see is them far away from the window, already swinging through the air. We never see them actually leave the window, so I don't know, like, what happened in that half-second span of time, but it bugs the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's also good that she had that 500 feet of steel rope.
Right? She got that from the sewers down below them.
Great.
Also, why is this stained glass tower connected to the sewers?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's a really
It's
good
like
question.
a beautiful monument. It's connected to the sewers.
Like, you know what stained glass reminds me of? Poop.
Pooping. So I really didn't like how they executed the killing of the queen. So they did the whole thing where they tried and it didn't work out. And they did it again. And then they did it again and it worked. But each time they tried, it was the same amount of suspense building. There should be some variation there. There should be more suspense built on the third one. But it was all exactly the same. So it's like, is it going to make it? No. Is it going to make it? No. Is it going to make it? Yeah, okay.
Cool.
It was really lame.
How did you get out of that window? I don't care about the queen. What happened in that 0.5 seconds I didn't get to see? Give me my $5.14 worth dead gummit. Yeah, I have no idea. It was just like, hey, this movie's almost 2 hours long, and I'm about to run out of space on this 32 gigabyte SD card we came to film this whole thing on.
Okay.
Just kill it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon went, okay.
Yeah, sure. Also, when that guy threw the magnet up, he had a good throw.
That was the most weak, wimpy, underhanded throw I've ever seen, and it goes
literally underhanded.
It takes off like Buzz Lightyear flying with falling with style. What was that?
That was it went really far.
And he goes, "It's up to you now." And then he kind of goes, and the stone just goes, and there's Tao Te jumping out like, and they're not reacting to it at all.
I figured it out.
Okay.
Matt Damon, or William, is a Terminator, so he's magnetic.
Oh.
So the stone just was like sucked to him. It wasn't the throw that was creating that force. It was his magnetism, which I guess he activated.
This is he's an
electromagnet, okay?
That's way better than any of the Terminator movies we've gotten in the last 5 or 6 years.
It makes about as much sense.
And then she like has her spear sticking out and it just sticks to that. I'm like, when things are moving that fast, magnets don't work quite that well unless they're very powerful, and this is not shown to be that powerful of a magnet.
Yeah, no, they can
like they run it by a bunch of soldiers, and if it was able to do that whole thing where it just magnetized up to this spear, if they had this on the wall, they would have like tried to stick it by the Tao Te to deactivate it, and all the soldiers would have went oh and gotten eaten.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing. Again, why was Willem Dafoe in this?
No.
No one knows.
He dies useless.
Like,
yeah,
he could have completely been left out of it.
I mean, he was just there to get them out of the.
Also, to
China.
explain why the girl can speak English.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was just a necessary little hole filler, but he was just.
He
very
was just
unimpactful.
He was like you know, you have donuts and you have donut holes. He was a donut hole, but like from the wrong thing and stale.
He was a bagel hole.
He was a bagel hole in a donut movie.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But the thing is, like, he didn't have to be what he was. They could have had, like, a sage or a monk or something who was just this learned man from a different land. That was not supposed to rhyme, but you could have just had one of. You just could have had one of those guys who pops up every now and again to speak a wise word, and.
Or it could have been like a prisoner of war from the Chinese people, and he could have been helping them come up with an escape plan, and then he gets like killed by the beast, and he's like, "You have to do this and escape for me." That's all. It could have been that.
Yeah. Instead, he's just his last words are.
I was like, "It's time to escape and steal the black powder."
I have enough powder for 10 doors. It's like, yeah, and you used it all on one, you idiot.
I love when he cuts the rope and drops all this stuff on Matt Damon.
Yeah.
It was really, like, unnecessary. Like, he was just leaving, and then you cut the rope and dropped a bunch of heavy stuff on him.
It's like he wasn't going to get in your way. He was just kind of like, okay, y'all are stupid, but, whatever.
Whatever. I understand. You got to eat.
And then General Lin was... all mad at Matt Damon because it looked like he was trying to escape, apparently. And then the bowl cleaner boy, the bowl dropper boy,
apron boy,
was like, no, he actually was trying to stop, and he was like, send him to prison.
It's like, English?
Because I don't want to admit I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Then she lets him go after she's gone.
Yeah. Well, she didn't want to have to do a goodbye because it'd be very difficult to say goodbye to this plastic toy of a man.
Terminator.
He might move an arm in sadness.
That's another line that I was just like, are you serious? Is when he gets up on the balloon with her and she's like, I let you go free. And he says, and yet here I am.
Which is a callback to a line earlier where they were on the, the dive bomb thingy. I don't have a better name for it. The diving boards, and they say, here I am, for some reason.
What an ineffective harness. A ring? Really? That's the best you can do.
Well, they had to flip a lot. No. I want to see a Chinese circus after this. If they do that kind of stuff, I want to go.
Yeah.
They do really impressive stuff. Way more impressive than things in this movie.
Yeah. How much do you want to bet? Because I noticed at the end of the film that this is a China Films LLC production. How much of this do you think was an advertisement for people to go see the Great Wall of China and increase tourism?
I could see that, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Maybe. I mean, a podcast that I listened to made me want to see the Great Wall of China more than the movie did.
Yeah, because that podcast told you interesting real things that happened and also didn't have... I almost called him William Damon. And
it's Matthew. Matthew Page.
And doesn't have Mr. Page trying to tell you things in a bad Irish accent.
Or whatever it was.
Amigo. But there's a podcast called Stuff You Should Know, and they do an episode on the Great Wall. It's pretty interesting. You kind of learn about the actual history of the Great Wall. It's a lot less depressing and it's free. Thank God. You don't have to pay $5.14 for this piece of crap. Okay, so basically, let's do an arbitrary rating of something out of something. I'm going to start. I'm going to give this 2 bad Irish accents out of 10. Micah?
It depends what we're rating it on. I think there's 2 scales we can use here.
Okay.
We can use quality of actual quality of actual movie.
Okay.
And that's like 1.5 out of 10. But if you're looking for a terrible movie, like a really good awful movie, I give this like a 7 or 8 out of 10. As far as really enjoyable awful movies.
I'd give it a 6. There's 6 out of 10 for good bad movies.
Right.
There's better terrible movies out there. I confused myself trying to say that.
There's better terrible movies out there.
There's more movies you can watch ironically that would be more fun to poke fun at. I can't think of any right now, but whatever. Abby, what are your 2 scales?
Okay, so as far as actual movie quality goes, like a 2 out of 10. Enjoyment wise, I gotta give it like an 8.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this.
I loved it.
But it was just like, it's so bad.
When it finished, Me and Alan, a friend of mine, we clapped. We applauded for him.
I stood up and went, "Oi," and the lady in front of me went, "Yep." Katie, what are your arbitrary 0 out of 0 type ratings? Not something out of something. Look, if it's a good movie, if you're rating it on actual movie quality, what do you give it out of 10 somethings? You don't have to think that hard about it. How many?
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10? Okay, and for enjoyment of a terrible movie, what do you give it?
I'd give it an 8. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean...
I want to change my good rating of it. I want to give it a 1.5 million monsters out of 10 million monsters.
One for each Tautay.
Oh my gosh. I think the people sitting behind us, like, on the next level of seats were actually kind of frustrated with how much we were, like, poking fun at the movie. I think they actually enjoyed it.
Yeah,
some people did actually enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
I got
And
a
they're
6.3
crazy.
rating. I talked to a few friends of mine, and they all said it was pretty good. So, there's that.
You should not be friends with these people.
Yeah, do with that
Well, like,
information
these
what
are
you
people
will.
that, like, I would normally trust as far as, like, oh, you should go see this movie. It's good. I'd be like, oh, I believe you.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm going to nominate it myself for about 30 billion Razzies. Because it's terrible, and I wish it didn't exist on some level. And then the other part of me is like, I really want to watch those scissors again.
I love it a lot. I'm
So,
really glad it exists.
when it comes out, I probably won't buy it, but I probably would get us all together so we could. You know what we should do? We should do a commentary of this movie.
Dude, yes.
I've seen some other people do this, and I don't want to like steal an idea, but it's I think it'd be a lot of fun for us to watch movies that are really bad and do commentary.
I would love that.
So
I think that would almost, that'd be really cool.
So if you guys want us to do that, throw us some suggestions on Twitter. You can Twitter us.
You can tweet us.
Tweet us.
You could give us a little bird sound at rollsoundpod, or you can email us. Our email is rollsoundpod@gmail.com. And starting 2 days ago, we have a Facebook page now. So again, at rollsoundpod on Facebook, you can find us, and you can tell us what you think we should do commentaries of. If you liked this movie, if you genuinely like this movie, I would like to know why. And also get you a psychiatrist, but mostly I just want to hear your thoughts on this. But I'm kidding. You don't need a psychiatrist. They're expensive. But I'm on a budget, dang it. But no, I definitely we'd love to hear from you guys that are listening to this. So if you want us to do commentaries and you have a suggestion for a movie, even if it's going to be absolute torture, definitely tell us. And if you're going to give us a shout out on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, just make sure we're tagged. We'd love to get in contact with you guys and tweet back. Again, tweet 1 billion Tautay images to at ABBYK8M because she hasn't even tweeted yet, and I would love to fill her Twitter with Tautay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And look for us on MySpace. Let me know what you find.
Yeah. If you find us, we have to sue somebody. So please do that so I don't have to.
Or someone has to sue us. Probably the latter.
Probably that, yeah.
Oh,
no,
boy.
I Googled this name before I picked it, so we're good this time. Last time we started a podcast that didn't go anywhere, we accidentally used the name. Because I Googled it and it didn't show up, so I Googled this one like 14 different ways to make sure. So
Cool.
We're good. But yeah, so definitely, if you really just want to like confuse a movie snob, tell him this movie is fantastic and take him to it. And just watch his face the whole way through. Or her face. Movie snobs can be men and women, I guess. So,
Yeah.
are you claiming movie snobness?
Well, not about this movie.
But in general.
A little bit.
That's a word.
A little bit of snobbity.
A little bit snobbity.
So,
I
I
like
think
that.
between two snobs, he's the more snobby one.
probably. But I've gotten softer since we started the
You
show.
have. It's weird.
I actually had nice things to say about this. 2
Yeah.
months ago, I would have had the pitchforks out.
Yeah, you went from like a 8 snobbiness to like a 3 snobbiness.
And then
don't know
I
what
just went
happened.
up.
Would you say I'm better this
snobby.
way?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
And then my snobbiness just went up.
I got married and it kind of just evened out. Well, yeah, I know because one of our friends, Caitlin, who's done some work with us in the past, she's a wonderful, wonderful young lady. She used to enjoy movies, and then she worked with me. And she texts me every now and then and goes, I went to watch a movie, and dang it, I hate you, because now I notice every single thing that's wrong. And then she'll send me a list of like all the things she found, and I feel terrible every time. I'm sorry, Caitlin, but yeah, that's our review of the Not So Great Wall, which is in theaters now, and you can watch it if you want, I guess.
You should. It's
actually
good.
It's entertaining.
It's very entertaining.
It's entertaining, but not for the reasons the filmmakers intended, I don't think. So
if you're doing a commentary with your friend while you watch it, it's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, I saw it alone, so I guess that's why I'm just
Me
like
too.
whatever. But
Now we had fun.
Cool. So it exists. Thanks for listening, everyone. I know that it seems a bit rocky sometimes, but that's because Rocky movies are better than The Great Wall, and so we're modeling this out. That didn't work, and I don't care. I'm tired.
Out of rocks come mountains, Garrett.
Thanks for listening to whatever this is.
Whatever we are.
Roll Sound is the official podcast of Solar Flight Productions, and we're very glad that you joined us. If you're liking this, make sure you go give us a review on iTunes. We're also on SoundCloud. Tell your friends if you're enjoying this, if you get a laugh. That's the best way that people will hear about the podcast, is from people who are listening to it and enjoying it. So make sure you just tell your friends, hey, I found these 4 idiots who talk a lot. So you should go listen to that. And that's the sales pitch we want you to use. So again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Roll Sound. Bye.
Bye.
That's always a goat sound. Bah. Bah. Music is playing now.